Game number 71 of the season for the Mariners is start number 15 for the King. And moments ago, Felix Hernandez finishing up his warm-up in the bullpen. And you talk about making a young Mariners fan's night. That's one heck of a souvenir to walk away with. Kings Court in session. So glad you could join us for Mariners baseball on Root Sports as the Mariners start the final leg of the homestand with game 1 of 3 against the Kansas City Royals. The Royals 39-27, first place in the Central. The Mariners right now 32-38, fourth in the West. And Mike, have a look at the starting lineup penciled in by Ned Yost, the manager of Kansas City.
The Royals' #1 hitting team in the American League. We'll take a look at it. Escobar, the shortstop, is going to lead off. Then it's Moustakas. Kendrys Morales, we're all familiar with him. The DH, they hitting third, leads the Royals and doubles with 18 and RBIs with 45. In the middle of the lineup will be Hosmer Perez, the catcher, leading the club in home runs. Then it's the left fielder Gordon, Rios, Infante, and Dyson round out the 9 for Kansas City. And for Felix on the year, looking for his 11th win, ERA just over 3, 87 strikeouts to 27 walks. Opponents hitting just .202 against Felix. And a quick look at the defense for the Mariners. Smith getting the start in left field, Cruz out in right. Miller and Seager on the left side of the infield, Cano and Morrison on the right side of the infield, and Mike Zunino will do the catching.
And we are underway. Ball 1 to Alcides Escobar. Leadoff hitting shortstop for Kansas City. And one of the many fixtures that makes this Royals defense so good. A win tonight for Felix would make him the first 11-game winner in the American League. Garrett Cole of the Pittsburgh Pirates, who's having a fantastic season, is the only 11-game winner in baseball. Escobar to center. Austin Jackson for 1 out. Felix tonight making his 12th career start against Kansas City. Lifetime of .280 earned run average. As you can see what Felix did in his last start facing Madison Bumgarner, 8 scoreless here at Safeco Field. But in his career against the Royals and Ned Yost, now the winningest manager in Kansas City Royals history, passing Whitey Herzog last week, a Hall of Fame manager. A whip barely above 1 lifetime for Felix against Kansas City as he now faces Moustakas. Well, the Royals have been given a break. This is the first time the Royals are facing the Kings since September of 2013. Going off the lower half, 1-1.
For Felix, his fastball 91 to 94 miles an hour. His changeup 87, 88 miles an hour on his changeup. He'll also throw a curveball at around 80 and mix in his slider at 84 miles an hour. And you can see the percentages, the way that he goes about his business. 48% on his fastball, 30% changeups.
The curveball, Mike, this year is a pitch that is maybe under the radar because of the changeup, but that has been a deadly pitch for Felix this season.
No, I would agree with that, and he's actually thrown it more this year than he did even last year. So I thought his last outing, it was exceptional. They really had a tough time with his curveball, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see it more even tonight. In fact, for Felix in his last outing, he was right around 25% with his curveball, and on the season he's at 19-20%. Last year he was at 16%, so he's starting to get a pretty good feel for it. That number's jumping up for him.
Once again, Austin Jackson for out number 2. Two up, 2 down for our old friend Kendrys Morales. Last year Kendrys with Minnesota, also of course back with Seattle, and signing during the offseason with Kansas City.
Things are going much better for him this year. 289 with 8 home runs, but more importantly the 45 RBIs.
Last year was such an odd year for Morales. Really had no spring. Well, he didn't. He had no spring training. Really, his spring training was his time with the Twins. And he fills the void of Billy Butler. Butler signing the 3-year free agent deal with the Oakland A's. Butler, a former first-round draft pick by Kansas City. And if you look at the Royals' success and everything leading up to what happened for them last season, Butler and so many other first-round draft picks panning out and making an impact eventually for the Royals. A big reason why. Dayton Moore, the general manager. Yost, you see right there. It was a long time waiting for fans, nearly 3 decades in Kansas City between World Series. 1-2.
And that was the good curveball we've been talking about. Felix, 80 miles an hour on his curveball. Typically, when he throws it, if he throws the good one, it'll either be right at the bottom of the strike zone. Sometimes he'll try to bounce it to get a swing and a miss.
Now they put the shift on with 2 strikes against Morales. Down on strikes, and there's number 1 for the King as he retires the Royals in order. 1/2 inning in the books. Royals nothing, and the Mariners coming up. Now Logan Morrison getting set to lead things off in the bottom of the first inning for the Mariners. And Mike, having a look at Lloyd's lineup tonight.
This evening's lineup is brought to you by Chevron. Logan Morrison, an 11-pitch at bat to start the game yesterday. He ended up scoring both of the runs for the Mariners. Then it's Jackson Cano, Cruz, the cleanup hitter tonight. Seager, Trumbo, who had hit second yesterday at DH, he will bat 6th tonight. Then it's Seth Smith. Since May 9th, 13 doubles and 4 home runs for Seth. Miller and Zunino round out the 9 for Seattle.
Logan facing Joe Blanton, 34 years old, out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. As Lomo jumps on the first pitch, it's got some carry, but not enough as it's held onto by Rios. And everybody stays on their feet. Dyson and Rios, a close call.
We'll take another look at it in our Alaska Supermo. It looks as if their gloves hit. Fortunate to have held on to the ball. Good play by Rios. Lorenzo Cain typically in the outfield getting the night off, so Dyson is in center.
Everybody's okay, just playing a little bit of tag out there. So here is Austin Jackson. Blanton, a very familiar foe, was with the A's for a number of years, the Angels most recently, and you can see his numbers here, making only his 2nd start this season. 0-2 quickly to Austin Jackson. Blanton did not pitch in the big leagues at all last season. He made only 2 starts for the A's with their AAA affiliate. Blanton was then released, and he essentially hung him up at that point. Owns a vineyard in California, thought that maybe it was time to become a businessman instead of a baseball player, and was eventually coaxed into coming out of retirement. And it's now 2-2 on Austin Jackson. Zach Duke of the White Sox is Blanton's neighbor in the offseason, where he lives in Tennessee. And it was Duke who one day needed a partner to play catch with, and he called up his neighbor Joe Blanton, said, "Would you mind helping me play some catch?" Blanton got the itch after that one game of catch, called his agent up and said, "Put my name out there." Signed a minor league deal with the Royals. Began the year in AAA. Had an opt-out in his contract in mid-May, and the Royals didn't want to lose him. They called him up as he strikes out Austin Jackson. Began in the bullpen and now making a start, his second for the Royals after the Royals rotation's been really banged up.
No, it has been. And Blanton, the veteran guy, he'll work on both sides of the plate. This is a good fastball for him. He's going to be 91, 92 miles an hour with his fastball. And he'll also mix in a changeup, curveball, slider. Has them all. Will use every one of his pitches. Fastball about 50% of the time. And I was thinking about what you were talking about, Aaron, with him playing some catch. Probably the first time in a while where he went out there and thought, oh, my arm doesn't hurt. A little bit of time off.
You know, this isn't as bad as I remember. That's a good point. Starts off Cano with ball one. Blanton making his 19th career start against the Mariners, by far the most starts he's made against any team over the course of his career. Cano stings it to center. Dyson looking up, showing his numbers, and it's gone. Number 3 for Robinson Cano makes it 1-0 Mariners early on.
We've been talking about it with Cano, and he's starting to heat up. Lloyd McClendon the other day saying that he felt that Robbie was really close. And so he's been picking up his base hits, driving in a run. But he jumps all over a 2-0 fastball. Again, 91 miles an hour. And that's a pretty good ride out to center field. Take a look at the Alaska Supermo and the swing by Cano as he barrels his pitch up. Fastball middle away. That is a good sign for the Mariners.
Ball one to Nelson Cruz. Boy, that was an impressive shot.
We talked about it with Cano, Aaron, and in his career, he's a much better hitter in the second half. I don't think anybody would mind if he started a little bit early.
Why waste any time? And just like he did to Cano, Blanton falls behind to Nelson Cruz, 2-0. It had been a while since Robbie had gone deep. You have to go back to May 30th versus the Indians. 2-2. Of course, Nelson Cruz homering just the other day against the Astros in the 3-homer game, game 2. Routine pop up there to the Gold Glover, Eric Hosmer. And that'll do it for the Mariners in the first. But Robinson Cano with 2 outs goes deep, and he goes very deep. This was punished by Robinson Cano, and it's all smiles early on here from inside Safeco Field. Mariners lead it Solo home run. Well, Safeco Insurance and the Mariners invite you to do more with the Grand Slam family package. You get 4 tickets, hot dogs, and Pepsi soft drinks for one low price for the game this Wednesday when the Mariners host the Royals at 7:10. Visit mariners.com to pick up family package tickets. Nice to see that from Cano. Felix facing Eric Hosmer, the cleanup hitter for the Royals. Talking about first-round draft picks a while back from Kansas City. Hosmer, one of them. Very highly touted prospect coming up to the minor leagues, and this year hitting nearly 300. That is one of the very best first basemen in the game. Slicing to Seth Smith, who goes over for round number 1.
I thought it was important, Aaron, because it is the Royals and the way that they go about their business, that for Felix, sometimes he's afforded the luxury in the first couple of innings to kind of settle in, figure things out. But with Kansas City, I think one of their strengths is because they're so aggressive, they'll usually get after the starters right away. And I thought it was important for Felix to come out and be able to command the strike zone. Those 2 pitches right there to Hosmer, a good example of that fastball right on the outside corner both times, and he's still hacking away at him.
The Royals are a little odd this year when you look at the difference between their batting average and their runs scored. As we mentioned in the pregame, they lead baseball in batting average, hitting .274. They're 14th in the game in runs scored, so tops in average and really just about middle of the pack in runs scored. Interesting how that works out.
Yeah, and you look in the American League, they're 4th in on-base percentage, so they're getting plenty of opportunities, and really they're hitting .287 with runners in scoring position this year.
Any team would take that.
But they are 13th in home runs. They do not hit a lot of home runs. One of the big power sources is this man right here, Perez, their catcher, .280 average with 11 home runs.
He has quickly become one of the best catchers in baseball. And the interesting connection here is that both Felix and Salvador Perez from Valencia, Venezuela, as Alex Gordon waits on deck. And their homes only about 5 minutes apart from each other. Of course, Felix about 5 years older. Three and one. But Valencia, a very compact city of about 2 million.
They spent part of a winter there. Play a little winter baseball.
Popular place for that. Yep. Full count.
Again, Felix right on the corner. Is that one right on the inside corner? That's the good changeup. Let's see the downward movement of his changeup.
Payoff pitch. Perez able to fight it away. Felix takes many forms. Down the line and a fair ball into the corner. Extra bases for the Royals catcher, who slides in just in time for the double.
We'll take a look at it out in front of a changeup and hits it hard down into the corner, able to keep it just fair. Kyle Seager giving it a good look, making sure that it stays fair, or hoping that it goes foul. Clearly a fair ball.
Just got it in there. So Perez, the first hit tonight off of Felix. 1 out, a man in scoring position for Alex Gordon. The 1-0 from Felix. 1-1. Of course, Alex Gordon, the man that was left 90 feet from home in the World Series last year. On the ball that looked like would just be a single, ended up putting him at third base. And then with 2 outs, Salvador Perez popped up to the Panda. And then into the World Series, gave the Giants the title. Gordon, a former first-round draft pick, a former infielder, and he's got King's Court cheering against him here with 2 strikes. To the gap in left center, Seth Smith is able to track it down, and Salvador Perez has to stay put.
Pretty good swing by Gordon. Pitch that was off the plate away, and Seth able to run it down. He was actually shading more towards the line. Doing a good job saving the Mariners a run right there by making the catch.
Pretty surprising early on here tonight, Mike. 4 of the first 5 outs have been through the air, and we know Felix is a supreme ground ball pitcher.
Well, that'll happen sometimes early in the game for him, and it looks to me as if he's really trying to establish his curveball early in the game, throwing in a little bit more than what I'm used to seeing. Still has the good changeup, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that continues, because especially when you look at the Royals, a team that hits for a high average and they don't hit many home runs, you would think they would be more line drive on the ground. Played by Zunino right there. One things with the Royals, when we look at the numbers and the reason why they're so aggressive, they really put a lot of pressure on any pitcher. You have to throw strikes to them, and they have to be quality strikes because they're ready to hit.
Now, veteran here in Rios, former White Sox and more recently with the Rangers. Ground ball, Miller can't get there. Perez into third. Austin Jackson is thrown home up the line, and down into second base is Rios. And with that, the Royals grab it early, tied up 1 apiece. I'm talking about ground balls.
There you go. Brad was playing over in the hole thinking he was going to pull the ball, but Rios able to hit it right back up the middle. Brad not able to get to it. I saw Austin Jackson after he made the throw to home kicking himself a little bit. I think he wished he would have hit the cutoff man and kept Rios at first base, but because the ball was too high in the air, Rios just kept running, was able to cruise into second, put himself into scoring position.
So the Royals counter with the run of their own. Here is Infante, the number 8 hitting second baseman. On a line, left center, and a base hit. Rios hits third. He scores standing. Back-to-back RBI base hits, and suddenly the Royals have taken the lead.
And again, on a first pitch strike for Felix. This one at the top of the strike zone, and Infante able to stay on top of it. This is the way that they play the game. They're going to go up there ready to hit. You see this first pitch, 91 miles an hour at the top of the zone, right in the middle of the plate, and Infante hits a line drive into left center. Royals now 2 for 3 with runners in scoring position.
Infante at first base gives the Royals the lead. Here is Gerard Dyson. Dyson to Cano. The option flip to Miller. And that'll end it for the Royals in the top of the second. But Kansas City has taken the lead as we go to the bottom of the second inning. 2-1 Royals. at the Kansas City defense.
Brought to you by American Family Insurance. The Gold Glover, Alex Gordon in left field. Dyson can cover a lot of ground in center. Alex Rios, strong throwing arm in right. Moustakas is the third baseman. Escobar and Infante playing at the middle. Eric Hosmer is at first base, and Salvador Perez will do the catching tonight for Kansas City.
Kyle Seager leading off the Mariners second. Cano going deep with 2 outs back in the first. That gave the Mariners the quick 1-0 lead before the Royals countered. And Seager ahead 2-0. I mentioned that Blanton has faced the Mariners plenty of times over the course of his career. The first time was back in 2005 when he was a member of the A's rotation. Off Seager's foot.
We'll take a look at the swing by Kyle in our Alaska Supermo, and right out the kneecap. More down on the shin. That's better. Now taking some time to walk it off. Marvin Hudson, the home plate umpire, helping him out.
Seager looks no worse for the wear, at least for right now. And he's down on strikes. Perez completes it. There's out number 1. That'll bring in Trumbo.
Aaron, you mentioned with Blanton how often the Mariners have faced him, especially when he was with the A's. I thought it was interesting looking at some of the numbers. In Blanton 2013, his fastball still about 50% of the time, but he threw a lot of changeups. He was right around 27% changeups. This year, he's about 24% sliders. Not as many changeups, only 16% on his changeup. A little bit of a different look than what the guys are probably used to.
Both those pitches have been good pitches for him this year if you take a look at the opposing averages. Now, that being said, Blanton making only his second start of the year after beginning in the bullpen, and was not called up until mid-May. To kind of timestamp, by the way, that start that Blanton made in his first start against the Mariners, the opposing starting pitcher was Jamie Moyer.
Really?
And his battery mate was Dan Wilson. Nick Swisher was at first base for the A's that day. This is taking you back a while. And Brett Boone was at second base for the Mariners. So let's just say that Blanton versus the Mariners goes back a few years. This is smacked back to the warning track. Gordon has just enough room and allowed out number 2. They'll make plans now for a summer outing with family and friends at Safeco Field. Best of all, group discounts start at just 20 tickets with prices as low as $12 a seat. Make plans for summer fun when you select a group date at mariners.com/groups. A strikeout and a deep flyout, and it brings in Seth Smith.
Seth tied for 5th in the American League with his teammate Robinson Cano in doubles. 18 doubles on the year for Seth.
And for a hitter who gets shifted as much as Seth Smith does, it seems like a fair amount of those doubles have gone the opposite way. One of those, if he hits the ball in the air, it could be to the left field. Center. If he hits it on the ground, it's going to be to right.
Right. And a lot of hitters are that way. You can tell by the defenses where they set him up. Although Dyson, the center fielder for Kansas City, is shading more towards right center in tonight's ball game. And Escobar, the shortstop, just playing more up the middle. Not a real shift on for him.
Smith behind quickly 0-2. And is that just the differences between one hitter swing to another? The on the ground to right, in this case, through the air to left, more times than not?
More times than not. I think also to hit the ball in the air, I think they put a better swing after staying inside the ball longer, and that'll get the ball elevated as opposed to maybe getting outside and around it, which will put it on the ground.
Rios has just enough space. Boy, we saw a couple of really loud outs. Trumbo to the track and left. Smith to that and right. And it's a 1-2-3, albeit loud at second inning. Honda, get a dream deal on your favorite Honda now at your Honda dealer. By Silver Reef Hotel Casino Spa, I-5, exit 260, Ferndale, Washington. By Steel, to find your local Steel dealer, just visit steeldealer.com. And by Rare Dunn Maserati of Kirkland, East Side Service, the absolute opposite of ordinary. As Alcides Escobar begins things with a swinging strike.
And again on the curveball for Felix. You'd be surprised, and that's one of the things that makes Felix so great is he's able to throw all of his pitches for strikes when he wants to, so he can change up that curveball getting away from him. But he can change up if the lineup wants to be aggressive with him. He'll play along with them, and I think to me 4 times out it plays to his advantage because it's going to keep his pitch count down. If he can put him in play early, he's happy to do that. We saw that earlier this year against Tampa. Another curveball for a strike. And he and Archer hooked up.
And really, in a opposing lineup, being aggressive early to Felix is nothing new. I mean, he's seen that plenty of times.
Yeah, he has.
Here's 1-2. Escobar fights it away. Felix, 1 strikeout so far. That was to Morales. Kansas City coming to town after sweeping a 2-2 interleague series against Milwaukee, and then dropping a series 2 games out of 3 at home against the Red Sox. Changeup buried, 2-2.
Just to give you an idea how good his curveball has been this year, the league is hitting .093. and he's yet to give up an extra base hit on his curveball.
That's remarkable. Miller's way, can't get there. Escobar 1 for 2, a leadoff single. We'll stick around after the game for Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. Escobar begins things with a base hit. Here comes Mike Moustakas. Moustakas had yesterday off. What a start to the season it's been for the Royals third baseman, batting 3 1/4 entering tonight. And he smokes this to right. Cruz just gets it off the wall. Escobar steaming into third base, and he scores standing. Moustakas, a run-scoring double. And the Royals have grabbed a 3-1 lead. They've come out swinging, haven't they?
No, they really have. They've been aggressive. First pitch right here from Felix. Looks like his changeup. It is 88 miles an hour. Moustakas hits a screaming line drive out to right. In fact, he hit it so hard, Cruz barely had time to turn around. He'll play it off the wall. And once it gets past him, Escobar scores easily.
So 3 unanswered Royals runs. And here's Morales.
Kansas City, although they don't hit many home runs. Again, they're 13th in the American League in home runs. They are 5th in doubles, already 2 doubles in this ball game, and 4th in triples.
Now, Dayton Moore, the general manager of the Royals, really seems to have done a fine job constructing his team for their home ballpark in Kauffman Stadium. That is a doubles paradise. And they've got a lot of hitters that do exactly that.
And you can get triples in that ballpark, too, and they have some speed on their team. We're talking about Dyson and Kane, Escobar, guys that can really run, take advantage of the dimensions of that ballpark.
Now the chance for Felix, looking to get his first out behind 2-0. Morales, a switch hitter, batting very well from both sides of the plate this year. Hosmer on deck. 3 balls and a strike to Morales. Infield tilted over a little bit to the right as Kendrys will draw ball 4. So the first walk tonight for Felix Hernandez, and there are 2 on with nobody out. It brings in Hosmer, who flew out to left field on the second pitch that he saw his last at bat. Morales at first, Moustakas at second. He had the RBI double off the wall. There's the curveball for a strike. We mentioned that Felix has thrown his curve a number of times early on here tonight. Is that just a situation of a scouting report, a game plan, and that something in the other team swings, or?
No, I feel that as the season has gone on, he's started to use his curveball more and more. And I mentioned the numbers against his curveball this year. I'm sure that Felix is aware of that and realizes how good his curveball has been. So we're starting to see him throw it more and more.
And time of fastball to make it 1-2.
I mean, even in his last outing, which was against the Giants, he was 26% curveballs compared to 30% changeups. And typically, his slider and his curveball are anywhere close to as many times he throws his changeup. So almost even on those 2 pitches.
Felix breezed through the first inning. Escobar to center, Moustakas to center as well. Morales struck out on a fastball. Since then, 9 batters he has faced, 6 have reached, and half of those have scored. Full count.
Felix appears to be a little bit frustrated. He knows how important it is for him in this game tonight to throw quality strikes, and struggling a little bit here in this inning. Overall, 13 batters faced, just 7 first pitch strikes for Felix.
And back-to-back 3-ball counts. 2 on, nobody out. Hosmer down on strikes. Felix's second punch out tonight.
Well, let's take a look at it. Looks like the changeup again. This one well located. You can see the run. Looked like to Hosmer it was going to be on the outside corner, but it runs well off the plate away.
Now facing Salvador Perez. I mentioned earlier that Salvador and Felix from the same hometown. They were the starting battery mates last year in the All-Star game for the American League. That was at Target Field. Seen a ton of sliders from Felix tonight. But now no balls and 2 strikes. 2 on.
And you can see that last pitch, the fastball. Middle in. I think Felix wanted to throw the fastball in off the plate so that he could go right back to the slider, the pitch that he'd thrown before. That one catching a little bit too much of the plate for him. Good fastball, though, at 93 miles an hour.
Again on 0-2. Bounces it in. And it's always a busy night behind the plate for Mike Zunino. Every 5 days when Felix is up on the mound. Not an easy man to catch, but an awfully rewarding one.
No, he is, but you have to work hard. And Mike, I'm sure on his way into the ballpark today, he knew that he was going to be blocking the ball a lot. Another one in the dirt.
And they'll say that it goes around. And now, double up at first base. Morales caught napping. It's a strikeout and a tag out at first. A run in for the Royals could have been a lot worse. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Royals by 2. Inning here from Safeco Field. We take a look now at our Geico This Day in Major League history, and it involves Ken Griffey Jr. and Babe Ruth, who now Jr. broke Ruth's record for the most home runs through the month of June. Number 31 off of Brian Anderson, and well, when your name is used in the same sentence as Babe Ruth, things are going pretty good. And they obviously were for Jr. as Miller has started off with strike one. Three pitches, all strikes, and Miller is retired. Now when the Royals come to town, they bring with them the reigning American League Comeback Player of the Year, Chris Young. And Mike, for as much of a savior as Young was to the Mariners last year, the thing that you really remember the most about Chris Young is he was one of the best human beings in this game.
Oh, without question. And I enjoyed my conversations with him last year. Very thoughtful and would always give you time. And he did a really good job for the Mariners, especially pitching in this ballpark.
Well, he showed up on the Mariners' doorstep in Peoria on about the second to last day of spring training. Started the final game of spring training against the Rockies. That was the first look that the Mariners had at him after he was released by the Nationals. And he pitched to the dimensions of this ballpark down to the final inches all the way around, and more times than not it worked brilliantly for Chris Young. Well,
he's a fly ball pitcher, and he took advantage of it here.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Zunino. And he really defies everything that you think about pitching and what makes for a successful pitcher. He works the upper tier of the strike zone better than anybody.
Very consistent as far as throwing the ball at the top of the strike zone, especially his fastball. He doesn't have an overpowering fastball. He's going to be in the upper 80s with it, but it works.
Logan Morrison on deck. Young started yesterday on the final day of the homestand for the Royals, and unfortunately for him really got knocked around by Boston as the Red Sox connected on 13 extra base hits against Royals pitchers yesterday, the most ever given up in a game by Kansas City. But Young has been one of their best starters since joining the rotation. Strike 3 called. Back-to-back punch outs for Blanton. All-star balloting continues, and Nelson Cruz is currently second in the designated hitter category. Vote for Nelson up to 35 times on the Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot at Mariners.com. Voting is exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Vote at Mariners.com. That brings in Logan Morrison. 2 outs, nobody on.
This will be the second time through the lineup for Blanton. Some kind of adjustments the Mariners make to him. Talk about it all the time, Aaron, when you're facing starters, make them work, get their pitch count, get them out of the game. With Kansas City, that might not be such a good idea, but as good as their bullpen is, I think what you'd like to do is take advantage of the starter while he's out there, where the Royals have had some issues.
Into the shift. Infante, a long toss. Hosmer playing some alley-oop, is able to go up and get it. Sides that down in order, second straight inning. We go to the 4th. Royals by 2. All-Star voting, and of course that seems like something very topical with Kansas City in town. Miguel Cabrera, Mike, you know, when you're batting .346 and you lead the American League in that category and in RBIs, you think that maybe you can start at first base. He just edged Eric Hosmer, but other than that and Mike Trout, everybody's in royal blue.
Had no idea the Mariners were playing the All-Star team today.
That's exactly what it is. All-Star game this year played in Cincinnati, but it's going to be a lot of Kansas City Royals. Morales, you can see there, the DH, but it's Trout and Cabrera, and boy, the storylines with that are seemingly endless. Alex Gordon, an All-Star a number of times and looking like one again this year, leads things off in the top of the fourth.
Or Felix, last couple of innings have been tough ones for him. Pitch count up a little bit. Let's see him have a quick, efficient inning here if he can.
Miller full steam ahead, almost overruns it. He's able to make the catch.
Really good play by Brad on this foul pop-up. As he's running towards the foul line, he'll take a quick look again to see where he is at. Aware that Kyle isn't going to be able to get there, and as you mentioned, Aaron almost overruns it. Able to slow down just in time to make the catch. Good look at our Alaska Supermo and the concentration by Brad as he leans back, catch the foul pop-up and help his pitcher out.
One up, one down. Here's Alex Rios. Now, the way that the All-Star balloting is right now set up in baseball, for the most part, you can make the argument that whichever fan base is the most enthusiastic has the most power, and well, that has certainly been the Royals. And even with that in mind, Major League Baseball is doing its best to, well, make the best of not a very good circumstance that really doesn't necessarily look all that good from the outside. And they have basically shredded millions, 60 million votes, as you can just see fans in Kansas City setting up new email address after new email address and voting 35 times endlessly. The 1-2. In fact, at last count, it will cost the Royals in upwards of over $1 million in incentives being paid out to all their players who have in their contract. Well, you get X amount if you make the All-Star team. The 2-2. Infante, as he is currently scheduled to start the All-Star game. And for as hot hitting as Infante is recently, not the guy you think of. Down on strikes, Rios. 2 up, 2 down.
Well located pitch by Felix. Well, looks like the fastball, 92 miles an hour. Well, you're right, Aaron. Infante, even though he's been a hot hitter, comes into the game with a .229 batting average and has yet to homer this year.
Maybe doesn't scream All-Star. Infante, a 7-game hitting streak. Well, now 8 if you include a single in the second inning. An RBI single at that. We mentioned the enthusiastic fan base in Kansas City, and one thing that it's easy to forget about is that in Kansas City they have 2 teams. They have the Chiefs, they have the Royals, and for about 30 years it's really only been the Chiefs until last year. Season tickets and tickets overall are up through the roof for Kansas City. They've already sold over 2 million tickets for the whole year, which is their most since 1991, and there's still plenty of time to buy more if you're in KC.
It's amazing what happens when you go to the World Series, right? I mean, even here at the ballpark today, I've seen a number of Royals T-shirts, hats here in the ballpark, which you rarely used to see that at all. So they're starting to travel much better as well.
Now, there's definitely a crowd above the Royals' third base dugout during batting practice. Felix is 2-2 on the way, and Infante just gets a piece. The King comes home, and Infante stays alive. The Royals are well on their way to setting an all-time franchise high in tickets sold. Their most ever was about 2.5 million back in 1989, and it looks like they will certainly pass that number this year. Bases empty, 2 outs. Dyson would be next. A lot of pitches for Felix. You see there, number 70 was just thrown. The opposite way, shallow. Cano with 2 hands. And the side sat down in order. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Austin Jackson will begin things for the Mariners. And then Robinson Cano, already 1 home run here tonight. And then Nelson Cruz. Bottom of the 4th, and we take now a look at our CenturyLink What's Next. Jeremy Guthrie up on the mound for the Royals, and this is an interesting storyline. Mike Montgomery, of course, a former first-round draft pick by the Royals, spent a number of years in Kansas City's farm system before making his way over to Tampa Bay and then eventually Seattle. And Montgomery never pitching in the majors for Kansas City, and he will pitch in the majors against Kansas City tomorrow. Well,
fortunately for the Mariners, from the time that he's been up, he's pitched extremely well, so I'll be curious to see how he does tomorrow against this aggressive hitting lineup that Kansas City's running out there.
Quickly 0-2 on Austin Jackson. Mike, we were commenting in between inning breaks that Joe Blanton just physically looks hardly anything like the Joe Blanton we saw in 2013 with the Angels. That brushes Jackson back.
He looks as if he's really slimmed down, in much better shape. Again, you mentioned the time that he was out of the game. He looks as if his arm is even a little bit stronger. His good fastball tonight. His slider has been his best pitch. We were talking about Mike Montgomery. A little bit of good news for him looking at the Kansas City Royals. They are 14 games over 500 against righties, but 2 games under against left-handed pitching.
Very interesting. Backhand play, Escobar. Out number 1. Well, we take a look at our Seattle City Light power play, and it comes from number 22, Robinson Cano.
Well, he's able to catch up to the fastball. That's on a 2-0 count. Hits it into the seats out in right center field for Cano, his 3rd home run. Hopefully he's starting to heat up, make a big difference to this club in the lineup.
His first home run since May 30th versus the Indians. Edgar Martinez in his early days as Mariners hitting coach. Lloyd today, Mike, echoed some of the sentiments that you had the last couple of days about Edgar, basically saying it's going to take time. This is not something that you just snap your fingers and it changes overnight. And Lloyd really emphasized the relationships, needing to get to know the players.
Without question. And that takes time. Although for Edgar, we talked about it yesterday, a day game. He was here early, going over video. That's part of the process of getting to know these guys and analyzing their swings and trying to figure out who they are and what they're about, what makes them tick. He was out here early today having batting practice on the field. Mike Zunino, one of the hitters that he had out early. But it takes time. And to figure out how you're going to unlock some of these things with the guys, it's going to take a lot of conversation.
2 up, 2 down for Nelson Cruz.
And I think, again, his strength is, obviously he can talk about mechanics with anybody as far as the swing goes, but more importantly, I think he's just his positive nature, and I think giving guys a game plan on what they need to do is going to be the difference. But it'll take a little bit of time to get there. And, you know, as a player, although you know about Edgar and what a great career he had, you don't really know Edgar, and so it's going to take some time on their part too.
That's a good point. The 2-0. Take a look at American League voting in the designated hitter category. So Cruz right on the heels of Morales. Hosmer, what a pick, and he's able to make it to first base. Now Hosmer with a number of gold gloves, and you can see why. That was a beauty. Side retired in order for the 3rd straight inning. That's 10 in a row sent down. On Root Sports is brought to you by Clearwater Casino Resort. So many reasons to come out and play. By BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. By Vern Funk, bad luck can hit anyone, insure with the 13th man. And by Volkswagen, hurry in and get a deal during the Volkswagen Stop Dreaming, Start Driving event. Gerard Dyson beginning things in the Royals' 5th. Kansas City 2 runs in the 2nd, a run in the 3rd. Felix retiring the side in order in the 4th. Dyson had such a critical and clutch stolen base in the American League wildcard game in Kansas City against the A's. That was a game where Oakland stole in the neighborhood of 8 bases that day. Or Kansas City did against Oakland. And Dyson was huge. He had to steal a 3rd in the late innings. What a bizarre game that was for Kansas City. They trailed going into the 7th. They ended up winning 9-8. They trailed at 7-3. And with John Lester on the mound, you thought that the Royals' magic, for what was a fantastic season, might come up dry early on in the postseason, but that was not the case. 2-2 to Dyson.
Felix's pitch count continues to climb. 76 pitches for him. Nobody out here in the 5th inning.
They've really made him work. Just missing. We've seen a lot of 3-ball counts recently from Felix. Final 2 batters in the 4th, a number in the 3rd as well. The opposite way here is Seth Smith for round number 1. And we'll take a look at the Mariners calendar, brought to you by Sleep Country USA. Mariners starting up the final portion of this nice lengthy homestand. The Royals in town now, and then an off day, a travel day to Anaheim to take on the Angels, then an off day in San Diego. The Mariners have been on such a long stretch of games, and then all of a sudden you get 2 days off sandwiched between 1 3-game series.
And that long stretch that you're talking about, nothing but quality teams that they're having to deal with along the way. You go down to Anaheim and you almost feel as if you're getting a break, and they're right at 500.
Angels at 35-35. They're 5.5 games outside of the Astros. I talk about quality teams. The homestand starts with the Giants, the team that won the World Series, and it ends with the Royals, who won the American League.
And the team that's been out in front of the American League West all season long, the Astros in the middle.
The first place team to sandwich between. Defensive little flick.
Trouble.
A rainbow drops it fair, just barely. Escobar, after a wide turn, thinks otherwise.
Great pitch from Felix, and you can see this swing by Escobar. Very aggressive hitter. Chased the pitch probably out of the strike zone, but able to dump it down the right field line. Thought about second. Put on the brakes.
6th hit tonight for the Royals against Felix.
Moustakas with one of those hits. Double to right field in a line drive over the head of Nelson Cruz for the double.
And the Mariners fortunate that ball stayed in the ballpark. That hit about 3/4 of the way up the fence. Not cheated on that swing, but a strike. Things were going so poorly last year for Moustakas. At one point he was optioned down to AAA Omaha, but once he was recalled, he was huge for the Royals, and he's been off to a blazing start in the first half this year. Over Miller's head, it drops in. Escobar quickly to second, on to third, and he's in there safe. Moustakas 2 for 3. Runners on the corners, 1 out.
Already 7 hits for the Royals as Felix works here in the 5th. 1 out in the 5th.
Well, to give you some idea, in Felix's previous 14 starts, he's given up 7 hits only twice. Ball 1 to Morales.
The good news for him is if he can get Morales to hit the ball on the ground, it should be an easy double play. does not run well at all.
And really, Mike, when you bring that up, that has been a little bit of a theme tonight. We touched on it early on, but we've seen a lot of fly ball outs and a lot of, well, balls that have been stung to the gap or to the corners.
No, you're right. As far as my scorecard goes, I see one ground ball out.
Two and one. Morales, a dangerous hitter. Upward swing there to make it 2-2.
And that was on the changeup, well off the plate away. So Morales shaking his head.
Now, Kendrick's probably preferred to be in the Mariners dugout on days where Felix pitched. Now having to face the King. Escobar at third, Moustakas at first. To Cano. Is this the double play ordered up? Yes, it is. Exactly what Felix was hoping for. And Mike Flowers puts his crystal ball away. We go to the bottom of the fifth. Coming up for the Mariners, Kyle Seager. And then Mark Trumbo, Seth Smith. Back to Safeco Field in a moment. Of the fifth, and as always, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. Blanton missing with the first pitch to Seager. Very timely double play ball from Felix to get out of a jam at the top of the fifth.
Yeah, just the second start for Blanton. His last start against Milwaukee, in 5 innings, he threw 73 pitches, so he's probably good for 85, 90 in that range, and he's in pretty good shape with his pitch count right now. Only 56 pitches for him.
On the ground to Infante, routine play. Now, you really had to wonder about Blanton entering today's start, and really doesn't even have so much to do with his track record. Really being knocked around his final season with the Angels. Keep in mind, 2013 with Anaheim, 2-14, an ERA north of 6. He had nearly 50 more hits than innings pitched, so he did not exactly go out on a high note before his brief retirement. Did make 2 starts the following year with the A's AAA club. But that start against Milwaukee, Outside of the Phillies, there really hasn't been a team this year in baseball that has had more lumps than Milwaukee, a National League team, of course. So you wondered what it would be like for Blanton facing an American League team with the likes of Cano, Cruz, Seager, Trumbo. But so far, the Mariners have a run on one hit, and that one hit was Cano's homer.
Trumbo just missing a home run his first time up. He was able to take Gordon, the left fielder, up against the fence and left.
And that was really an inning. That's good you bring that up, Mike. That was an inning that you hoped would provide some foreshadowing. And as of right now, it really hasn't. Trumbo to the warning track and left. Smith to the warning track and right. That was even deeper. That was basically had Rios' numbers up against the wall practically. Of course, Cano hitting one out.
Well, you're talking about Blanton when he was with the Angels, and the thing that I've seen tonight is one, he's in much better shape. And again, maybe the time off, we were joking about it earlier, but maybe the time off has helped him because he's developed a much better slider and he's throwing it quite a bit more than he used to. There's another one right there.
And Trumbo just gets a piece, not enough. 5 strikeouts now for Blanton. Well, join special guests Dan Wilson, Jay Buhner, and Seattle Seahawks Jermaine Kearse for the 3rd annual All-Star Softball Classic for Youth. Bring your family and friends out to beautiful Safeco Field this Saturday at 3 in the afternoon. For tickets and more information, just go to uwkc.org. One to Smith, who, as we just mentioned, flew out to the warning track to end the 2nd inning. The shift is on. Two balls and a strike. Drive and a foul ball. Smith acquired during the offseason. 1-for-1 swap with San Diego. The Padres getting Brandon Maurer. Down on strikes. Breaking ball for Blanton, and he is racking up the strikeouts. He has 6 through 5 innings and has coughed up just 1 run on 1 hit. Tonight making start number 15, but so far it has been the Royals who have been doing the bulk of the hitting so far tonight. And it's Kansas City leading by a score of 3-1. We take a look at the numbers for Felix, Mike, and a lot of pitches for the King through 5 innings.
Surprising with how aggressive Kansas City has been. They found a number of pitches off. Felix going to 3-ball counts quite a bit. In Kansas City, they do not walk much at all. Been 1 walk in this game for Kansas City. You can see the 7 hits on the board through 5 innings against Felix.
Well, that's notable. That's 1 shy of his season high that he's allowed. That was 8 hits in early April against the A's. Hosmer after the first pitch, right there to Seth Smith. Then a quick out number 1, much needed. And this is the amazing thing about Felix, is that tonight obviously we are seeing a team do much better against the King than most would at this stage, and yet Felix has a chance. He's 2 outs away from a quote-unquote quality start. Most starting pitchers would say 6 innings and 3 runs in the American League, even in an offensively starved game. I'll take that.
No, you're absolutely right. I think for Felix's standards, quality start is more times not 7 innings, 2 runs or less.
Absolutely. Well, there's no other pitcher in the game that has a stat named after him, the Felix quality start, which is exactly that. Cano's way, 3 pitches and 2 outs. Now mark your calendars for Saturday, July 11th for Nelson Cruz bobblehead night, when the home run hitter makes his Mariners bobblehead debut. Thanks to Root Sports, this collectible is of the Boomstick himself is free to the first 20,000 fans. For tickets, all you have to do is go to Mariners.com. Mariners and Angels, July 11th. Hope to see you here. And steps Alex Gordon.
The Mariners will put the shift on with Gordon hitting. Well, you can see Brad Miller over on the right side of the infield.
Fastball strike, 1-1.
I have to talk to Chris Woodward. It's interesting to me when the Mariners put a shift on. Watching Cano, sometimes he's well out into the outfield grass. Sometimes, even though they're shifting, he'll play right where he's at right now, where he's actually on the dirt. And Chris Woodward is the one that moves the infielders around, along with working with them on a daily basis. There's a shot of Chris right there. And when they decide they're going to do that or not, or why they do it, so I will definitely talk to Chris about it, see what the thought is.
That's a good observation. You're right. Sometimes it looks like Cano's in the shotgun.
Yeah. It really does, and because they've changed a couple of things this year. Remember, they used to leave Brad Miller at the shortstop position and move Kyle Seager over to the right side from third. And I talked to Woody about that, and he said it's gotten to the point to where he's really comfortable with Kyle just staying on the left side of the infield. It made sense when they first started doing it because Kyle obviously playing a lot of second bases. He came up through the minor leagues, but now that's Kyle out there at the shortstop position. They're making some adjustments too.
Felix is 2-2 to Seager, the opposite way of the shift. He vacuums it up, and another 1-2-3 innings spun by Felix, his 3rd in 6 innings, and the King with a very efficient 6th, exactly what he was looking for. big catch, and it came in the early innings here tonight. Brad Miller ranging into foul territory, almost overrunning it, but able to lean back and haul it in. And there is our Big Fish Casino big catch as Miller took it the whole way.
Great adjustment by Brad.
Now, for a moment there, we were down an umpire. The crew chief, Jim Joyce, was with Mariners trainer Rob Nodine.
Looks like he's limping a little bit.
Joyce, fair to say, one of the most recognizable umpires in baseball. Looks like he's maybe okay. Just needed to check in on something.
Apparently he was in the dugout talking to one of the Mariner trainers, Rob Nodine.
Mariners really trying to get something going off of Blanton, as you see Nodine there. Since the home run to Cano, as this pitch, a routine fly ball. Gerard Dyson calling for it. That's now 14 in a row sat down by Joe Blanton following the home run by Robinson Cano that gave the Mariners a 1-0 lead.
And again, this is not what you wanted to see. 68 pitches. They do have some action out in the pen for the Royals. You did not want to see this because this is one of the better bullpens you're going to see. Again, their ERA as a group is just over 2. And Morales getting loose in the pen.
Zunino, a strikeout, looking on a fastball back in the 3rd inning. And 0-2. A former hitting coach and a current hitting coach. Still 0-2 on Zunino. Blanton's 1-2, and Zunino down on strikes. Second time tonight, and for Blanton, that is strikeout number 7. Now the Mariners and EQC give a salute to the U.S. servicemen and women with a ticket discount offered at nearly every home game. Present your military ID at the Safeco Field box office and receive 10% off select main, terrace, or view level seats. To all who serve our country, we thank you. 2 up, 2 down, and it brings in Logan Morrison. Lomo 0 for 2, trying to extend a modest 3-game hitting streak. Lomo had one of the better battles in recent memory. In yesterday's game, a leadoff walk in the 1st inning, an 11-pitch plate appearance facing Vince Velasquez. That was 11 of the 43 pitches Velasquez threw that inning. Certainly set the right tone.
Logan scoring a couple of runs out of the leadoff spot. And you wonder how long Lloyd McClendon is going to stick with Logan in the leadoff spot. Against right-handers, lefties, he drops him down against lefties. But against the righties, basically has led Logan on for the better part of a few weeks now.
Now Morrison has hit well. He has done very well as a leadoff hitter for the Mariners. Safe to say it was unexpected, but it's worked out more times than not. Right back to Blanton like a magnet, and with that 16 in a row sat down by Joe Blanton, and through 6 innings it's 3-1 Royals. The Royals with 3 runs here today, Mike, and they got it started in the second.
Well, they did. We talked about the Royals, and they were going to be aggressive. And I thought it was especially true since Felix is on the mound, and that's what we see. First pitch swinging right here with Infante as he drives in a run. Rios coming around to score. Moustakas' first pitch to him. Lines it off the fence in right. Escobar will come all the way around from first to score. Felix so far 7 hits, 3 runs through 6 innings.
Nearing the 100 pitch mark. Facing Rios.
Joe Beimel getting loose in the pen.
Now Felix certainly keeping the Mariners in this ball game. Here comes his 1-1. 1-2. I've seen a couple of good sliders tonight from Felix. Clobber down the line to left field, headed for King's Court.
It's been interesting to watch Felix go to work. I think overall he's really thrown the ball well. You mentioned his slider, and I think his curveball has been pretty good tonight too. But because the Royals are so aggressive, we showed how they scored on some first pitches that they hit, pitches that were in the middle of the plate. That's not making too many mistakes. And again, the Royals are the #1 hitting team in the American League. And Felix able to hang in there after giving up those early runs.
Royals batting .274 as a team this year. Down on strikes. Number 5 from Felix, and a nice way to start things off at the top of the 7th. And we'll take a look at our Delta Airlines keep climbing standings as the Angels and the Astros beginning a series here tonight. After the Royals leave town following this 3-game series, they're down to the Bay Area to take on the Oakland Athletics. But the Astros, one way or another, just keep chugging along at the top of the standings. Brings in Infante with 1 out. We showed you the graphic in the pregame right before first pitch about Felix's numbers here at home. As you can see, the sudden popularity of Omar Infante. And his last 21 starts, opponents not even hitting 200 against Felix here at Safeco Field, which shines an even brighter light on what the Royals have been able to do to knock around 7 hits at this point. But Felix is 1 out away now from going 7 innings. And you take a look at the numbers as to what opponents have done in his last 21 starts here at home, and the numbers, Mike, are staggering.
Well, opponents average at 177, ERA under 2. Only 9 strikeouts per 9 innings, only a couple of walks.
Lobo can't get to it, right past his glove. Was in tight to the grass, and Dyson on with 2 outs.
Just out of his reach. Well, Felix will have to work hard now. Pay attention to Dyson over at first base. He has a lot of speed. The Royals 7th in the American League in stolen bases, but that is something that Dyson, I think, especially with 2 outs, he'll probably try to get into scoring position if he can.
Escobar's had a nice night, a couple of singles, a run scored. You talk about the base stealing threat of Dyson. Remember, this is the man who last year in the playoffs very artfully had the word zoom cut into the side of his hair. He has one thing on his mind when he gets at first base.
And you can see Felix right there just holding the ball. Pitchers will do that from time to time, especially if you have somebody with the speed of Dyson that wants to steal. Disrupt his timing. If you stay in the same rhythm as a pitcher, he will time it and get a pretty good jump. So I think it was a good idea for Felix to hold the ball.
Two and 0.
Felix now at 108 pitches.
You mentioned Bible, the lefty, warming up. Moustakas, the left-handed hitter, is due up next. And Felix behind 3-0 now.
Felix threw 106 pitches against the Giants in his last outing, a season high 114. I would have thought, Aaron, at this, looking at the Royals, the type of club they have, if you would have told me that Felix was going to throw 110 pitches, I would have told you it was a complete game. I really thought that he'd get through this in pretty good shape.
And does that go back to just how aggressive they are?
Yes. And
shorter at bats.
And they don't walk. What they're aggressive, though, watching them for the first time tonight is they're not just swinging at everything. They're going to be aggressive in the strike zone. That's why early in the count, first pitch strikes, you have to throw quality strikes to him.
There goes Dyson, swing and a miss. Zunino down to second, and he's safe.
Well, he picks the right pitch. It's not speed pitch. It's like a curveball to run on. Tremendous speed from Dyson. Easy steal for him.
Taking motor.
Kansas City 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position tonight.
2 outs, Dyson at second. And a full count to Escobar. Dyson on to third. Ground ball up the middle. Miller can't get there. Dyson scoring with ease. Escobar on at first base. He has been a pesky one tonight, and he knocks Felix out of the ball game. Lloyd was quick up the steps. We'll see a replay.
Take a look at this pitch. I think it was going to hit the dirt. Well out of the strike zone. Give Escobar a lot of credit. More times than not, if you're going to swing at a pitch like that, you'll roll over on it, and it'll be an easy ground ball, but he was able to fight it off back up the middle.
That was the same swing that he took on the little flare into shallow right. So Felix done and out away from going to full 7. The King tonight. Mike, a lot of pitches could not quite get through 7.
No, 6 2/3, 9 hits and 6 2/3. Not used to seeing that. 4 runs they were earned. Felix just walking 1.
Left on left. Moustakas jumping on the first pitch. Seager up the line. Foul ground. He's there. 1 pitch for Joe Bible. And he gets the final out of the 7th. We go to the stretch. Royals have the lead. As you consider how Washington's lottery win would change your bucket list. Play today. Another beautiful night here in downtown Seattle. The Royals, unfortunately, right now leading 4-1. They knocked Felix out of the ballgame in the 7th. Felix 4 runs over 6 2/3 as we go to the bottom of the 7th. And Mike, the Mariners still just a number of base runners away from at least tying this one up, but it has been the Rubik's Cube that is Joe Blanton tonight for whatever reason.
Just the 1 hit, a solo home run by Cano. He has really been on point. Again, I think it's his slider that has been causing the problems. There's another one for a strike. Be able to throw it for a strike, and then he'll expand things, throw it off the plate away.
He sat down the last 16 in a row. Line drive, and it's a fair ball into the corner. And that streak is snapped. Austin Jackson into second. Much needed there by the Mariners. And Austin Jackson, a fine way to begin the bottom of the 7th.
We'll take a look at it. It's a fastball. 89 miles an hour. Excellent job of pulling his hands back inside to get the barrel to it. Keeping it fair down the line. Really a good swing by Austin. He's had a nice month of June. Continues with that double.
That'll be it for Blanton. And Yost making a pitching change. Will step aside. Jackson at second. Back in a moment from Safeco Field. trying to come back from a 3-run deficit. And Joe Blanton, Mike, only 2 hits over 6+ innings.
Yeah, it was his fastball command, and of course the slider. We saw a lot of that. Here's a pretty good changeup to Kyle Seager. Bit surprising, I think. I think one that his fastball was as good as it was, but again, the command of that breaking ball, that one on the outside corner. Another good changeup to the left-handed hitter, to the righties. A lot of breaking balls. Zunino chasing that one, probably up out of the strike zone. But overall, 6+ innings, just the 2 hits. 1 run, it was earned, the solo home run from Cano. He didn't walk about her, 7 strikeouts, 80 pitches. He threw 51 strikes. He is responsible for Austin Jackson, who is out at second base.
And now Kelvin Herrera, who throws nothing but gas. You can see there 97.
28 appearances on the year for Herrera. ERA just over 2. 26 strikeouts in the 26 innings he has worked. Opponents hitting 194. He's got a couple of home runs. That first fastball, 97 miles an hour. At times he can hit 100.
Mike mentioned it earlier, but for Blanton, only 80 pitches because he's making just his 2nd start of the year, so needing to be stretched out. He threw 73 in his last start and his only other start against Milwaukee. That's why he's done after only 80 pitches. Ruled up Cano there.
On deck, so he's going to pinch hit for Nelson Cruz.
Getting away there from Perez, and Austin Jackson can coast into third base.
I didn't see anything with Nelson Cruz as far as him getting hurt or having a problem. He has had back spasms, so I'm wondering if maybe that's what's going to take him out of the game. We'll take a look at this last pitch. That's a changeup down in the dirt. So an opportunity for Cano to pick up another RBI. He's driven into 1 run, and that was himself with a solo home run, his 3rd home run on the year.
Still 2-2.
I was wondering what was going on because I noticed when the Mariners came into the dugout, Rob Nodine went over and had a conversation with Lloyd McClendon and Trent Jewett, and then Lloyd immediately walked down the steps. So it had to do with Nelson, I'm sure. As soon as we know something, we'll let you know.
Down on strikes, triple digits.
Take a look at 100 miles an hour. Tough to catch up to as our Alaska Supermo. Pitch right on the outside corner again at 100. Dustin Ackley will hit for Cruz.
It's got to be nice to be able to wake up in the morning knowing that you've got 100 in the arm. And even in today's power pitching bullpens, you don't see 100 all that often.
I wonder how Dustin feels about it, sitting over there on the bench. Now he has to pinch it. Probably wasn't even aware of it because Cruz is supposed to be hitting, and all of a sudden he's rushed up there to face this 100 miles an hour. Dustin with a base hit in yesterday's game, had a line drive into right. 100 again.
Well, it's obviously not a good sign that Cruz is not hitting here. Hopefully nothing too serious. When Nelson had to leave in Cleveland in the middle of an at-bat, it was nothing major, just missed a couple of games. As Mike said, the back spasms. And this is quite an adjustment for Mariners hitters. Blanton was about 90 to 92, and now you've got Herrera 97 to 100. Mariners have the tying run on deck. That's Seager.
Kyle is 1 for 2 in his career against Herrera.
We saw Ackley make a late pinch hitting appearance last night. Yesterday afternoon, rather, came up with a single. Big rip at 99, a full count. This kind of goes back to a conversation you and Edgar had a week or so ago, Mike, about how hitting has changed today versus when the two of you were playing.
Well, it's because of all the arms in the bullpen. A lot of guys are 94 or better. Few can hit 100 like Herrera.
Ackley trying to keep up with that fastball. It was amazing hearing Edgar say that when he was playing, that if a pitcher came out of the bullpen throwing 94, 95, it was noteworthy.
Yeah, that was when he was first breaking into the league. Towards the end, he was getting a lot of what these guys are seeing now.
Again. Back-to-back punch-outs, both reaching the century mark.
And we were talking about the Royals at the start of the game, and their strength is their bullpen. Herrera, a big part of that. As you see, 100 miles again, the late swing by Dustin Ackley. Tough to catch up to it. Nelson Cruz, a tight hamstring, his right hamstring. That's the reason why he came out of the game.
That's good to know. Seager with Jackson at third base. Breaking ball this time. Perez able to stay with it.
Yeah. Off-speed pitch at 90. That's his changeup. Good play by Perez.
Herrera has a slider, but he doesn't throw it very often. Also has a curve that he can mix in. Talk about changing speeds. The manager likes it when he throws 100. Grin there from Yost. His curve at about 80. You've seen his fastball. And there it is again.
There you go. Mostly fastballs. You see his changeup. And as Aaron mentioned, seldom throws his curveball. It's almost as Yost was amused that he threw 2 changeups. Why even bother?
Austin Jackson at third base. Here's a 2-2 to left field with some carry. Gordon into the corner, and he's there for a deep out number 3. Jackson stranded 90 feet from home, and we're through 7 innings. Mariners down by 3. Well, some changes for the Mariners as we go to the top of the 8th. Seth Smith moving from left to right field. And we saw Dustin Ackley pinch hit for Nelson Cruz. Ackley is in left. Cruz leaving with some hamstring tightness, we were told. Bimal to face Morales to start the top of the 8th. Morales now batting right-handed for the first time tonight. Kendrys had a really hard go of it last year when he signed with the Minnesota Twins. Did not hit a home run with the Twins, and now of course plays in the same division in the American League Central. And there were some smirks early in the season when Morales homered against the Twins at Target Field as a member of the Royals, when he did not homer at all as a member of the Twins. As you can see, activity inside the Royals bullpen.
Franklin Morales, the left-hander. Wade Davis, the righty.
Line drive past Miller. Base hit for Morales, his first tonight. I'll change up your commute. Take our online trip planner for a spin at soundtransit.org. Glad you could join us tonight. A very pleasant evening at the ballpark. Safeco Field. Aaron Goldsmith alongside Mike Flowers and our entire Root Sports crew. Mariners will have to come from behind to this one. In steps Eric Hosmer. Hosmer, the 3rd overall pick back in 2008 by Kansas City. Drafted and developed by the Royals. Tim Beckham was taken #1 overall that year by the Rays, which has not panned out. Pedro Alvarez was taken #2 overall out of Vanderbilt by the Pirates. And then it was Hosmer. Bimal's 0-2.
Well, he's been a really good defensive first baseman for the Royals, and this year having a fine year. Came into the game hitting .298, so just under 300 with 8 home runs.
He has never been an all-star before. He's won the Gold Glove at first base the last 2 years. Up the middle, and a high stab there by Bimal. Miller on to first for a double play.
And a good play by Joe Bimal. Look at the veteran. Once he catches it, is not in a hurry at all. An easy feed for Brad Miller at second base, knowing that they have plenty of time.
Two outs for Salvador Perez.
Fernando Rodney getting loose in the Mariner pen.
Perez doubled and scored back in the 2nd. We've talked about the offensive numbers for the Royals tonight, and the interesting thing is, after a red-hot month of April for Kansas City, they really fell into the offensive cellar in the 2nd month of the season in May, and they have seemingly come out of it at this point. And as strong as their numbers are, they essentially took a month off in terms of being a very efficient offensive team. They were the worst hitting team, or right there among them, for the month of May. And they're back to being more in line with what they were in April. And it goes to show you that you can have a strong offense without hitting the long ball. The only team that has hit fewer homers in the American League than the Royals has been the White Sox this year. And if somebody would have told you with the lineup that the White Sox had and then added to over the winter that they would be last in the league in home runs, you wouldn't believe them.
Well, especially hitting in that ballpark. Chicago, it's a good hitting ballpark.
Yeah. Here comes a 2-2. The Royals trying to become the third 40-win team in the American League this year. The Astros at 41-30, the most wins in the AL. Tampa Bay, the surprising Rays, 40-31. The Royals 39-27. Breaks his bat to center field. Round number 3, Austin Jackson tracks it down. Side retired in order despite a leadoff single. Mark Trumbo will lead things off when we go to the bottom of the 8th. Seth Smith and then Brad Miller. To Mariners Care for every Mariners win. Buy Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. It's on to the bottom of the 8th inning. Game 1 of this 3-game series against the Kansas City Royals. Mark Trumbo will lead things off, and he's on to face a new pitcher. And you can see the numbers here. Mike Davis has been nearly untouchable this year.
Yeah, one of the best setup men in the business. A 0.30 ERA in 30 innings, 33 strikeouts. Opponents hitting just 136, and he has yet to give up a home run this year.
He's only blemished 1 earned run against the Indians on the 2nd day of this month. That's been his only run allowed, period. Talking about how good this bullpen is for the Royals. I can remember looking at the day-by-day bullpen rankings as the season goes along. And the Royals bullpen did not give up an earned run, it seemed like, until the start of May. They went the first full month of the season without hardly giving up a single earned run.
Well, we just saw Herrera throwing 100 miles an hour. Then you have Wade Davis. His fastball will be around 95, 96 miles an hour. Great changeup, curveball combination, and of course Holland, the closer.
Doesn't get easier. Bounce it off deep to right. Holland's had to spend some time with the disabled list this year. Trumbo, a deep warning track out to left field in the second. A strikeout victim his last time up. That one got a little piece of Salvador Perez, it looks like. Davis a number of years with Tampa Bay, and when people talk about the James Shields deal with Will Myers, Davis is a name that is easy to not include, but he was part of that and a big part. Chasing after it. Davis strikes out Trumbo to begin the bottom of the eighth. But extraordinary moments happen every night in baseball, but on one night they all happen in one place. Don't miss the 86th All-Star Game. Coverage begins at 4 p.m. Pacific, Tuesday, July 14th on Fox. That'll be in Cincinnati this year. One up, one down, now facing Seth Smith. That was a trade made by the Royals where they really leveraged a lot. They gave up Will Myers, who what some people thought was just the prospect of a generation, and they put up good numbers in the minor leagues. A converted catcher, and trying to get big game James Shields. Davis, as you mentioned, a part of it. They gave up Jaco Odorizzi, whom we saw in Tampa Bay, a very good pitcher, and it certainly worked out for Kansas City. The Royals getting to the World Series last year, and Will Myers on the disabled list once again this year. Rookie of the year, has had some fine moments, but has had some health problems, especially with his wrist. Smith the opposite way. Gordon chasing after it. He catches up to it to make the catch. Now 4 straight gold gloves for Gordon. That's out number 2.
Take a look at the speed of Gordon. This ball was in the gap. Able to run it down. You mentioned the 4 gold gloves. Converted third baseman, and it didn't take him any time at all to convert to a left fielder every day and do an exceptional job defensively for him.
Rich Donnelly, the Mariners' third base coach, is the man, of course, in charge with studying the opposing outfielders. And today before batting practice, Donnelly said, when talking about Alex Gordon, he is the premier left fielder in the American League. He said, I can't talk about the National League quite as much. We obviously don't see them. But he said in the American League, that man is the premier left fielder, in his words. Rodney still stirring in the bullpen. Davis wants a new baseball. Ties him up 1-2. Strike 3 called. Miller looking at a pitch outside at 96 miles an hour. And he's rung up on strikes. We complete 8 innings. Rodney coming on to pitch tonight. We open things up in the top of the 9th inning, and hope you can join us tomorrow during the Mariners game for Twitter Tuesday. You'll have 5 chances to win exciting prizes. We'll be posting questions and want to hear from you, so be sure to watch and follow us on Twitter at RootSports_NW. For giveaway rules, visit us at rootsports.com. You can take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next. Jeremy Guthrie up on the hill for the Royals. Mike Montgomery, the former Royals farmhand, former Royals first-round draft pick, looking to, might continue his very strong pitching early on with the Mariners.
And from what we've seen tonight, he has a challenge in front of him, so it'll be interesting to watch how he does. For Rodney, his 30th appearance on the year, ERA north of 6, 23 strikeouts in the 28 innings he has worked. Opponents hitting .282 against Fernando. With fastball in the mid-90s. Great changeup.
Facing Alex Gordon. Starts him off with a strike. We really saw Fernando placed in his highest high leverage situation in a while the other day against the Astros, and was able to work out of it. We saw Rodney in game 2 versus Houston. That was on Saturday. Pitched 2/3 of an inning scoreless. Greg Holland, the Royals closer, warming up.
Fernando, since being taken out of the closer role so that he could get things worked out, it appears that he's starting to. In 4 2/3, he has a 1.93 ERA, 3 strikeouts, has a hold. So he's pitched better.
Sign of good things for Rodney. And Lloyd has talked about this before. Carson Smith has obviously been very impressive as the Mariners closer for right now. It kind of feels like there's that interim label on it because, well, Lloyd obviously really hopes that the man who had more saves than anyone else in baseball last year can regain his form. And now you have Rodney back as a closer, and you have a guy like Carson Smith to pitch in the 8th inning, as it might be. But as it is right now, it is Carson Smith that we are seeing in a safe situation, and for good reason. He's been fantastic. Rodney's 2-2 and a full count.
Alex Rios waiting on deck.
Ten hits tonight by the Royals, and this is not anything new for Kansas City lately. They have double-digit hits in 6 of their last 7 games. They took a brief hiatus from that yesterday against the Red Sox when they had 9 hits. And it makes sense why they're batting .274 as a team, tops in the big leagues. Eric Hosmer on the end. Salvador Perez. Ball 4 up and in, right by the beard. And Gordon draws the leadoff walk.
Tough at bat, 9 pitches to get the walk. Rodney missing with a fastball up out of the strike zone.
That brings in Rios. Rios has missed a lot of time this year. In fact, he missed 7 weeks with the fractured left hand, which he suffered in April. To right field, to Smith. Out number 1. That's when you knew that the All-Star voting had reached a level of pure insanity, when Alex Rios had played in 7 games and was the leading vote getter in right field in the American League. You know, there's just something doesn't seem quite right here. They might have been 7 impressive games, but not that good. Here's Infante. Infante has extended its hitting streak to 8 games. An RBI single in the second. And it's 0-2. There goes Gordon. Down to second. Tag applied, and they got him. Strike him out, throw him out. And that's how the top of the ninth comes to a close. Gordon caught stealing for the 4th time this year. Cano with the timely tag right there on the hand. And Gordon out by plenty. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Mariners 3 outs to get 3 runs. Then, well, Mike, we were talking about this earlier. Herrera to Davis, and now they hand the ball off to Greg Holland.
13 saves and 14 opportunities for Holland. ERA 3.12, 16 strikeouts, 11 walks in 17 1/3. He can get wild at times. Opponents hitting just 153 against him.
An all-star each of the last 2 years.
That's a good fastball mixed in a slider and a split.
Starts Zunino off with a strike. Since Holland has been a full-time closer to begin things in 2013, only one pitcher in baseball has more saves than Holland, and you might be able to guess it. It's Craig Kimbrell. Now with the Padres. 0-2. Kimbrell 114, Holland 106, and behind those two since the start of 2013, Fernando Rodney with 99. Ball and 2 strikes to Zunino. It's called at 94. Zunino thinking, and you can see why that pitch is inside. He's shaking his head.
.94-mile-an-hour fastball, 2-seamer. Typically, when a catcher ends up catching the ball like that, the pitcher will not get the call, and it doesn't appear that he should have.
One out. Back to the top of the order. Here's Logan Morrison. At one point tonight, 16 straight Mariners hitters were retired in order after Cano's two-out homer in the first. That gave the Mariners an early 1-0 lead, but then the Royals came storming back, and they have scored 4 unanswered runs. Thought about it, holds back 1-1. It was Austin Jackson's double which snapped the string of 16 in a row, sat down by Joe Blanton. And that would be the final batter that Blanton would face. He threw only 80 pitches, making only his second start of the year. One and two. Holland, a former 10th round draft pick who has blossomed into, it seems like, an all-star every year. Drafted out of the powerhouse that is Western Carolina University. And has he ever made a name for himself? Two and two. Felix tonight 6 2/3, 4 runs, 9 hits, the most hits that the King has allowed since August 29th of last year here at home against the Nationals. That was a really odd game for Felix last year against DC, as the Nationals hit 4 home runs, and if I remember correctly, those were the games that Lloyd took off to go see his daughter get married. So Trent Jewett was the acting manager, and Lloyd was checking his phone during the reception and seeing that things weren't going too well. But Felix has kept the Mariners in this one. Payoff pitch to Logan, and it's outside for ball 4. A 1-out walk.
Well, we showed the numbers, 17 2/3. He has 11 walks. Take a look at it. It's a good fastball from Holland at 95 miles an hour, but he misses the outside corner.
One out, one on for Austin Jackson. Mariners now put the tying run on deck. Starts him off with a fastball strike. Jackson with one of the Mariners' 2 hits tonight. They've both been for extra bases. Cano the homer, Jackson the double. 0-2.
He has just been working the edges of the plate. This pitch looked like a slider on the outside corner.
Jackson rung up 3 pitches, all strikes.
Yet another off-speed pitch. Take a look at it. That's a good curveball, I think. 85 miles an hour. And that will bring up Cano. He has been the offense tonight. Just his solo home run back in the first inning with 2 outs in the first.
13 Mariners strikeouts in this ball game tonight. Morrison into second base. Not indifference there. You knew that once you got to the bullpen, strikeouts, well, that's a problem for any offense facing Kansas City. You did not expect Joe Blanton to strike out 7 over 6 with no walks. Time called. And Perez out for a quick chat. Well, this is the type of bullpen, and we saw it last year almost every night for the Mariners. You talk about shortening up a game, and that's what this bullpen does better than any.
And we talked about it at the start of it. If the Mariners are going to have success, you would like to see them score some runs off of Glenn, because if he comes out of the game and they have the lead, it was going to be difficult, and that's exactly what has happened.
Lifted to right field. Rios makes the catch, and that'll end the ball game. The Kansas City Royals, the defending American League champions, take game one by a final score of 4-1.
Just didn't have any offense tonight. I thought Felix did a good job of battling tonight. He ends up going 6 2/3, gives up the 3 runs. But the Royals very aggressive in tonight's ball game, and I think we're going to see that throughout this series. So we'll look to Montgomery to get things turned around tomorrow and hopefully find some offense in the meantime.
So the Royals join the Astros and the Rays as the lone 40-win teams at this stage of the season in the American League. Royals win it 4-1, and right now Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines starts right now with Bradley and Val.
Aaron, thank you very much. You see why the Royals have best record in the league, the best bullpen in the league, and the number that jumps out there, Val, it's 4-1, yes, but 10-2, 10 hits to 2, as those guys were saying. You're not going to win a lot of games getting 2 hits.
Well, they're a team that they're very scrappy. They get to 2 strikes and they just keep battling. We saw them do that to Felix early in the ball game. Not a lot of balls were hit hard, but there were 2-out, 2-strike swings that they were just fighting off. A couple of bloopers here, a blooper there, and then a solid single. And that's how they ended up putting those 3 runs up on the board early against Felix.
All right, let's get right to it. Your local forward keys of the game. You're talking Felix. Let's continue to talk the King. What happened tonight?
Well, what we saw was this. On this special night, right? It's Happy Felix Day. He was centering that ball out over the middle part of the plate. A lot of mistakes up, out, over, something that we typically don't see from Felix. He normally stays down. It got to him early here. This ball just missing going out of the ballpark by just a couple of feet right there off the bat of Moustakas. But Felix started to settle down. He started to find that groove. Middle part of the game, started to find that split finger that was just sinking down in a way, that good solid changeup. And then a couple of double plays right there to help him get out of that inning. This was the final single right here through the left side. Again, not hit hard with 2 strikes, battled, and he ends up becoming a base hit and an RBI.
It was after the Dyson single stole a base, able to get home again with 2 outs. Got to Felix. So you got out of a couple innings, a couple of jams you mentioned with the double plays, but the Royals just keep on and keep the pressure on and beat him, and the King falls to 10-4 right now. Let's get up to the broadcast booth. Mike Blauer is sticking around talking more about the King. We heard you talk about it, and Dave just kind of went through his line, but at some point, Mike, you have to give the Royals some credit here tonight?
I think that you do. I mean, really thinking back on the game and seeing those highlights right there, the guy that probably caused him the most problem was the one that probably had 2 of the softest hits in the ball game, and that is Escobar. Escobar dumps the ball down the right field line. Little fly ball falls in. He ends up scoring from first base, and then the base hit back up the middle to drive in a run, which was a 55 hopper. He didn't hit hard at all, but that's the way the Royals are getting it done. They will go out. They hit for a high average. They're very aggressive. They don't walk much, and they don't strike out. They will put the ball in play. It makes it difficult, and I think the challenge for Felix tonight, can he make quality pitches early in counts? I thought he did that for the most part. A couple of mistakes. Infante on a first pitch that was up. It was elevated, as Val was talking about. Typically Felix down with that. And then the base hit by Moustakas where he almost hit the home run. Outside of that, I thought Felix was pretty good tonight.
Blow, you talk about Felix, he's kind of been hot and cold, as you go back of probably 6 or 7 starts. Are you seeing anything different from start to start that, he was so good against the Giants and tonight struggled a little bit?
Well, to me, Val, I think really the one that stands out is obviously the one in Houston. He was not comfortable at all. You were talking about him getting the ball up. Houston really got after him, and they were very aggressive. But really, outside of that, I think he's been pretty good. Look, our expectations of him are pretty high. And, again, giving up 3 runs over 6 2/3, most pitchers would be thrilled with that, especially against this offense, the number 1 hitting team. But I don't think so, Val. I think outside of the one outing against Houston, the outing that was here at the ballpark earlier this year, I think he's been pretty good. And again, I'll give Kansas City a lot of credit tonight with some of the base hits they were able to get off of him.
Yeah, hard to talk about a bad outing, guys. Felix goes into the 7th inning here tonight. Mike, we appreciate it, buddy. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, so Felix Hernandez again takes the loss. He's now 10-4. We're going to go inside the clubhouse, hear from the skipper, and also get hopefully hear from the King himself and get the latest on Nelson Cruz, who left the game with a right hamstring injury. We'll get the latest update on that as the Royals take game 1 of the 3-game set. The last 3 games of the homestand, 4-1, out hitting the Mariners again, 10-2. Mariners postgame just getting started here, presented by Delta Airlines.